r/AskReddit. Serious, think hard. What's the biggest mistake of your life? Quitting college to take a management promotion at my fast food job. I've heard this is something fast food places actively encourage. They'll find the employees that are slightly more motivated, i.e. trying to further their schooling, and convince them to drop out and take a dead-end managerial position. Is that what happened? Can't comment on ops situation specifically of course, but this absolutely happened when I was working delivery at Pizza Hut. The two shift managers when I started were both in higher education courses. Both had other jobs in their fields and only working at Pizza Hut still, because there had been 4 years and were getting decent money. That meant they could study and basically intern. That doesn't exist here, whilst surviving on the Pizza Hut money. The store manager was constantly onto them to quit everything else and become a manager somewhere between shift manager and store manager. A position that was nothing more than a title really. Kept yammering on about where it could lead, how it was a much better life outlook. Which would have been believable if she wasn't the epitome of dead-end job manager. Literally the stereotype used in movies and cartoons for decades. Every time we saw the next level up managers, they were always run-down, sad-looking people that looked like they hadn't slept in anything better than a cheap hotel for months and clearly had no chance of moving up. They both work in their fields now in good jobs. Last I saw, the store manager jumped ship to a different fast food chain because there was no opportunities here. She's still a low-level manager there too. Trying heroin. Currently on another attempt at sobriety though. 40 days clean currently. If anyone in your life struggles with addiction, I can't recommend a 12-step program enough. Edit. I'm getting a lot of messages suggesting that I just smoke weed or take kratom instead. As an addict, that just isn't possible for me. Any mind or mood altering substance will just lead me back to dope. That's just the program I work. And the program that's successfully helped many others maintain long-term sobriety. 8 years sober as a result of HAR and AA. Keep at it and keep helping others. I swear it gets better. Damn. Congrats. I'm approaching 9 months sober from alcohol and I love seeing such long sobriety. Getting fat. Easily. You can lose the weight. It will change your whole life for the better. Easier said than done, man. I had a choice to fall in with a balanced group of well-adjusted female and male friends, or a bunch of dudes into drugs and video games. I've been presented with this choice twice and chose the latter twice. We never realize how important the people we hang about with actually are until you meet the wrong people. There's a saying that I believe, which is that you are the sum of the 5 people you are closest to because they have the greatest influence on you. Dropping out of college. Because I didn't know what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Where are you in life now? If you're happy, then why regret dropping out? If you're sad, why can't you go back? It's never too late, my friend. I'm 35 and work in retirement for a brokerage firm, so I'm not doing too bad. It's just the idea that I could have finished and had a degree. At this point though, the idea of taking on the workload with a full-time job, a special needs child, and being married along with adding on student loans just makes it too hard. I appreciate the sentiment though. If I was 10 years younger, I probably would take some classes. Not breaking off my last relationship sooner. It was 2.5 years long. I was scratched, guilt tripped. She made me believe my friends didn't like me. She would message them from my phone pretending to be me. And I lost my friends. She blamed everything on me. Ever her parents' divorce. She would self-harm with scissors. Attempted to overdose on paracetamol twice and blamed it on me. I would be at work and receive a text saying I'm not feeling good. I'm going to cut myself or do something bad. You need to come and stop me. I'd freak out because I couldn't leave work, but didn't want her death to be my fault. She'd drag me into the street at 3 AM to have an argument so all her neighbors could hear what a terrible person I was. I became depressed because I couldn't understand why I was such a bad person. I had panic attacks daily. I began losing weight. And so I took myself to therapy. I sat down with her one night and broke up with her because I genuinely believed she deserved someone better than me. A few weeks later, I had a revelation of what had been happening. I deleted her number. Changed my number. Threw out everything of hers and my life instantly became colorful again. Before this relationship, I would think I don't get why people in abusive relationships don't just leave. But now I get it. You don't know you're in an abusive relationship until you're out of it. Edit. Also, she was playing with my cat once and he accidentally bit her. So she kicked him. She ducking kicked my cat against the stairs. Good for you. I'm glad you stood up for yourself. Thanks friend. I don't really feel like I stood up for myself though, haha. It's been a long road to believing in myself. I found a new lady and my god, she is amazing. I didn't know what it was like to love or be loved like this until now. But even now, a year later, I'm still not confident in making the smallest decisions in case it's the wrong decision and I end up back in my old relationship. I'll honestly never know if it was a mistake, but I flipped a coin to decide whether to go to college or leave home and hike the Appalachian Trail. Heads, I went to college and spent the next 4, ended up being 5 years working on a degree. Tails, I grabbed my already packed gear and went on an adventure. It landed on heads. College led to job, which led to responsibilities. I still camp on the trail, but my hopes of doing a through hike are mostly behind me. I'm not as young and spry as I used to be, and those responsibilities require a constant paycheck. I recognize anything could have happened if it landed on Tails. I could have wimped out halfway through or less, then gone right back home to do the college thing. I could have finished, been proud of myself, and then gotten a job. I could have also had a life-changing adventure. Or I could have been eaten by a bear. I'll never know. But I do wonder. Well, take care of yourself. Damn it. Trail's not going anywhere. And I've met senior citizen ultralight backpackers out there who blew the doors off of me. That gives me quite a bit of hope. Thanks for that. In all seriousness, investing in Bitcoin. I had a buddy who quit a 100k year job right out of college to go make equipment to mine Bitcoin. This was around 2012. He told me so many times to invest and I just never pulled the trigger. How is he doing now? If he was mining BTC in 2012, he's probably doing pretty duckin' well, mayo. I didn't speak up after what my grandfather did to me. I could have protected my cousin from him, but I was just a scared 12-year-old. Edit. Thank you everyone for your kind words. It really means a lot to me. You were the victim as well. Don't forget that. The person to blame was your grandfather, not the person in the mirror. Don't ever blame yourself for what he did to your cousin. The only thing you can do now going forward is to be stronger for yourself. Thank you. I'll bear that in mind. It's been a tough few years after, but I've grown from it. The feeling of not being brave enough won't ever leave. I'm pretty sure I'm making it right now by wasting my life away. But I can't think of anything better to do. So here we are. I felt the same way. For a while, I think I felt trapped because I would think of all the possibilities, move to a different city, change jobs, etc. There were just too many possibilities and I could not figure out how to weigh them, and they all seemed like crap. My recommendation is, don't start by thinking about what you want to do. Start by thinking about what you enjoy and things you do not enjoy. Then figure out a significant change in your life to do the things you enjoy. This could involve going back to school, getting a new job, etc. Figure out what it's going to take to get there and start working towards it. That's what I did anyways. Haven't met my goals yet, but I'm working towards them. And I feel like I have some direction again. I enjoy staying in my room doing nothing. When I was in middle school, I didn't walk my dog. She'd get walks from my parents in the mornings and on the weekends, but every afternoon I got home from school first and I was supposed to take her. She loved walks. She'd scratch at the door and I'd pet her and tell her I'd take her soon. But I was lazy and selfish and always ended up sitting on the couch watching TV. Mom would come home and I'd lie and say I'd walked her hours ago, like I was supposed to. I'd feel a little bad, but the next day I'd forget and it'd be the same. I got my act together by sophomore year. Then college came And I missed her so much I spent as much time with her as I could when I was home. We walked to the park and the beach, and we'd run and play. After college, when she got sick and started to lose her vision, I moved home for the summer to give her special eye drops 4 times a day. Her infection got better, but her sight got worse. I had to help her see where the porch steps were, and later lifted her down them when it was just too hard. I tied a belt to her collar and slept on the couch next to her bed so I could hear when she got up at night and take her outside. And every day, I walked her. We walked together every morning, twice in the afternoon, and again before dinner if it wasn't too dark. I guided her around cars and through lawns. Sometimes she'd sniff the grass, tail wagging, and sometimes she'd walk so close to me she'd bump her nose into my shin on purpose, making sure I was still right there. When we got home I'd scoop her up and lift her over the stairs, kissing the top of her head and telling her what a good girl she was. And I'd think about all the times I let her down and tell her I was sorry, that I wished she understood me, that I was so sorry, that she was my darling and I loved her. And if I could go back in time to make the choices I should have, I'd do it in a heartbeat. The last time we walked together was on Labor Day. I'd come home again for the weekend, mostly to see her. My parents called the next Saturday to tell me I miss her, and I still wish I cold loved her as perfectly as she loved me. I'm logging off to go cry in my dog's fur now. Thank you for this. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sure she thought you loved her perfectly too. Cheating on my ex-girlfriend for stupid reasons. Don't know how some people can be repeat cheaters. Ducked me up for a solid 3 years. Don't cheat, it's never worth it. At least you learned a life lesson out of it. People will just keep cheating. Good on you. Throw away because this is the biggest shame of my life. When I was in high school, I was in a relationship with a guy that was a straight up sociopath. I was crazy codependent on him because he was older, and I was just excited that a guy was paying attention to me because I was young and insecure. He would emotionally abuse and physically hate me on a regular basis, berate me in front of his friends, and sometimes share me with his friends. We were at a house party one night. Everyone was underage and everyone was drinking. I had gone to sleep in the spare bedroom in the basement. The basement also had a living room area and the walls were thin. I heard my then boyfriend and one of his friends and a girl that went to my high school through the wall, and she was clearly too drunk and stoned to know what was going on. I listened to them ape her. I listened to her crying, and I just laid there and was glad it wasn't me. I didn't try to stop it. I didn't tell anyone, and I never offered her help or support later on. She killed herself later that year. I don't know if I could have helped her if I intervened, but I think about it almost every day. Edit. I kept dating him for almost a year afterwards. Hugs. You had it rough. And so did everyone else around that fool. You were a victim. And I fully understand that feeling of having a guy pay attention to me. I'll let some guys treat me like trash for that same reason. And then there is fear involved, and feeling trapped and thinking, perhaps it will get better. I'm hoping you are in a better place. And if nothing else, share your story with as many people, especially young girls, and you might be able to save even just one from getting into an abusive relationship like that. I was sexually abused as a kid, and my story has been shared many times, and even used to train cops in identifying and dealing with abuse cases. Going to Bible college. Initially I was going to go to university for aerospace engineering, but I wound up going to this tiny private Bible college that charged 4x more, credits that wouldn't transfer, and an administration that kicks people out for having X because it's unholy. That was a lovely waste of $50. 000 and 4 years of my life. Edit. Since this is getting more attention than I anticipated, I will take this opportunity to tell people to stay away from these types of religious colleges regardless of your faith or beliefs. Leaving is a hugely traumatic and sudden process. It took me several years and being involuntarily committed for a week after multiple suicide attempts to begin getting past it. These places are dangerous in the social pressures they exert, and the enormous amount of control they wield, in robbing you of your entire support structure in family and friends, in order to coerce you to stay. I'm being completely serious when I say barely survived the process. One of my closest friends didn't. What was the reason you chose the Bible college in the first place? I was a fool and had recently converted to Christianity and had felt that I needed to go to a college that supported my aspirations to becoming a preacher. Huge waste. Ducking like and subscribe.